My Hero episode 36. And basically we start this episode off with where they left off at in the last episode, which was Yuga, the man with the naval laser, Uraraka with her anti-gravity powers, versus 13 with his ability to create black holes or create like the vacuum space suction. So that's scary, right? But then basically you look at like the lesson for this one. Technically, it's kind of eluding me at the moment because again, technically, like looking at his powers of him being able to absorb anything like that comes into contact like with his black hole, because once it gets like within like a certain field of it, technically it works like Miroku's wind tunnel from off of Inuyasha, except for like when you get close enough, it breaks you down upon the molecular level and then absorbs you. So that's kind of a problem. But I guess for the sake of how they beat him, or at least like that, Uraraka, she lets go. He can't kill students, so of course, like she takes that the opportunity to take him down, and then they win. However, actually examining that, technically I could say that possibly like that this was probably something for Uraraka, because again, ever since the exams and everything, she's kind of been on this whole kick of her necessarily trying to become better or be as good as Deku, Bakugo, and also Shoto. So again, it's this thing where now like I get the feeling like it's a very similar thing to like the Momo situation, where basically she has to do these things because if she doesn't, she doesn't feel like that she's up to it. In which that when like she does her own thing, she just inadvertently wins. So that could be a thing for her. Yuga's still kind of dumb though, but he's not as dumb. But moving on to the next battle though. The next match is of course Ashido and Kaminari versus Nezu, the principal, whose quirk is just he has high intelligence. Well, he's an animal with high intelligence. And basically, essentially, like, it's just a giant puzzle match, because basically the two students in this case, like, they're not necessarily the smartest students, or better yet, like, because they are the biggest careless students, this is what actually leads to their downfall. Because again, basically, you have two people who have powers which can incapacitate people who come within like a certain distance of them, which does help, versus a super smart enemy who can just mold the environment to his will just by moving the crane like a few feet. So basically, these two powerful enemies were basically outdone by simple logic. And it's crazy, because that's their lesson, that if they thought a little bit, they would have actually succeeded in the end. But that's about it though. To quickly talk about the 7th match, this is Jiro and Koda versus Present Mike. Of course, this is a sound battle, so going the way how that you think this would, Present Mike is an announcer first and a hero second, or at the very least that's how this is coming off, whereas that his teaching method is just to stand by the gate and just yell at his students. Now, if I could say like what the lesson of this episode was, is this one seems to focus more on Koda, where basically he is very shy. He doesn't want to do anything, or at the very least, he kind of lets his fear get the better of him, to where that he finally does use his quirk to talk to animals to actually lead him and Jiro to victory. Even though she kind of had to deal with a massive sound wave before he got over himself. So that's a good thing, This was kind of interesting because it's Toru and Mezu. Toru has the invisibility powers. Mezu has his doppel arms, which is necessarily cool. And they're going up against Mr. Snipe, who technically has the ability to shoot homing bullets, which is also cool. Sorry about that. The cool thing about this little matchup is that basically it's straight and to the point, which is that Snipe is on one end, holding them back, and I kind of don't know what their thing. I don't know what the thing they gotta learn is, but necessarily we do have our only little funny moment in this goddamn episode, or super funny episode in this episode, which is, hey man, like Toru uses her invisibility to get in close and try and put the cuffs on him. You know, however, Snipe is focused on Mezu, and that ends up getting him cuffed. You know, and he inadvertently kind of stabs back and kind of bumps her breast and shit, man, like with his elbow. Just kind of weird, but I'm like, I guess they're trying to say that the Invisible Girl has big ass titties now, so it's hard to say because you can't see her. You know, I mean, like, you know, like I don't know if she's ever gonna like advance her quirk to the point to where that she can cut it off, because at this point she kind of reminds me of a older version of the baby from JoJo, except for she doesn't have the ability to turn other things invisible. So that is something. Now on to our final matchup of this episode. Now this one's the real kicker, which is that it's Mineta and Sero versus Midnight. Now again, we all know that Mineta is a pervert. Of course, we all are for every single woman in anime, because women in anime, they're not ugly unless they're drawn to be that way. So in this case, you know, he's going up against one of the more sexy older women in this TV series, which is Midnight, and also that messed up quirk she has where basically her bodily pheromones can just put people to sleep. You know, so that's kind of a problem. And also it also hurts Mineta even more because Sero actually kind of took a bullet for him to save him so that he could get away. And at first it's kind of presented in a way that, well now you can't be a hero just by running away. But then they actually kind of flip the script on us of actually saying that Mineta actually did learn from the first season, like man with him Midoriya and also Suya, and he's like, well, I gotta become a hero and I gotta make these I have to take these risks so, you know, like I can prevail or whatever. And of course he kind of does a good job of actually trapping Midnight and also carrying Sero on to the goal. Now that's the most amazing part about this though. You know, so it's more or less like that. This one actually did have a really good growing moment for Mineta, because even though he's a high-end student or whatever, like in their class, and also on top of that, he's also I want to say he's kind of he's not lecherous, but like he's not a mega pervert, but like he's more affected by the women than everybody else, like in the series. So again, they did kind of take that whole him whining nature and actually slowly turn that into something that's actually to be admired. You know, saying, well, now I can just complain all day, or I can put my shit down and just do what I gotta do and prevail in the end, which he did. So that's where we're left off with that. Next one will be Midoriya and Bakugo versus All Might, which that's gonna be fun to review. So if you like this, tell me what you think about this down in the comment section. Like this video, share it, do whatever. See you next time. I'm out.